This is the Hagmann Report for today. It's Tuesday, second day of June 2026. I want to welcome everyone to a nice program. I have a lot to talk about tonight, I'll tell you that. I want to thank everyone who stood with us and keeping us afloat. I really appreciate you. David, thank you. Thank you. You know, I don't mean to. I would love to name everyone. I really, and I'm trying to think of a great way to be able to acknowledge everyone who stood by us, to somehow give some public recognition, or not fully, by name, but just somehow to show our appreciation, my appreciation. I think about the last 10 years, and I just really, we have. Actually 25 years, when you think about it, going back to 2001, and then Randy Taylor and myself and some other members of some other people joined or formed Intel Group, but Randy Taylor himself was by himself in terms of an agent. He was just a counterterrorism force to be reckoned with. I'll tell you that. And then we allied and then fought that fight and watched as we think back, we watched as the Islamic takeover was facilitated by Bush and by others, and then Obama came in and it was all bets off. I mean, the gates were open, but then just a lot of things happened, and then you fast forward to you fast forward to Biden, and you see Mayorkas, and Mayorkas is somebody we haven't talked about, but we need to really shine a big light on Mayorkas. And I got to tell you something. I've been warned off of. I don't know how to say it. I've been warned off of talking about Mayorkas, but I guess
Let's
I just
talk
said
about Mayorkas then.
Exactly. That you read my mind. Randy Taylor's with me. Randy Taylor is on with me right now. And folks, by the way, just coming out of the gate, of course, as we struggle to stay on the air, Randy Taylor struggles to stand without legs. So he's got a recovery fund. It's go ahead, RT, give the recovery fund.
Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's rt.recoveryfund@gmail.com, and you would go to PayPal and enter that.
Okay.
rt.recoveryfund@gmail.com or help for RT. That's help, the number 4, rt@gmail.com. Either email address is fine. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, the ones that have sent in, I want to say thank you. I love you. We're still struggling. But I want to say thank you. This, every bit of that money has gone to paying bills and trying to get caught up, and we'll get there someday. Or either that or we're on the streets, whatever God wants. That's all I'm going to say about it. But listen, you need to support this platform because I need something to do this summer. And I don't want Doug to close up camp. It's really important. And we're just getting into a fight here, and the fight's just really getting going, and it's really important. And Doug can't do this for free. Ladies and gentlemen, he's cleaned out his savings, keeping us on the air. And that's bullshit.
That was hard to do.
That was bullshit. He sounds like I did when I had a land-based business in 2008 and everything got wiped out. I was still shelling out money because I couldn't lay my employees off. In my heart, they were like family to me, and I cleaned out my savings account, just keeping. I went through $250,000 that I had put away for my retirement. And I didn't. I put it into my employees till the last day with the last dollar. I remember writing a check for the last bit of money I had in the bank in 2008 for my right-hand guy because his family needed to eat. And yeah,
And that's the kind of guy you are. Yeah,
and
you
most
are.
businessmen laughed at me and said, "You know what? You deserve what you get. You didn't, you fed your employees. You went with them to the bitter end. That's on you." And that's the way people look at it. But you know what? They were my family. They were my children.
And that's so important for people to know.
And none of that money came to me without their sweat. And that's the way I looked at it. And it cost me a marriage, everything. You have no idea what happened in 2008 to me. I got wiped out. I got wiped out like you've never seen wiped out. Doug can tell you. I got my ass kicked right off this planet financially.
I was there.
I lost a multi-million-dollar company that was doing $5 or $6 million a year. We got slaughtered in 2008. And
I remember
I lost
that.
everything. Yeah,
I remember being down there. The folks, I remember being down in Florida and had, in fact, we had dinner at, my wife and I had dinner at RT's house. And I can't remember exactly what we were, there was an event down there. And
yeah,
anyway,
you were further south. There was something going on further south.
right. And, but anyway, we stopped and you had.
What a great night. What a great night.
It was a fantastic night. But then, like 2 weeks later, poof, he's gone. I mean, I shouldn't say that, except he was destroyed. That just that quick in terms of
slaughtered.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the money quits
horrible.
coming in, yeah, just like that. When the banks disappeared, literally disappeared, that were holding the notes on most of the construction jobs we were on, we had our products and services already in the project, and we couldn't get paid because there were no banks. The banks that actually started the loan left. The buildings were empty. There were no banks, 13 locations, no banks. It wiped me out. It was $1 million bankruptcy, slaughtered me.
I'm going to tell you, yet through that, and here's something I want to bring up because I was contemplating, as I usually do, what is the most important? What are some of the most important things that we should be talking about? And I think a lot of what Randy Taylor, myself, and I'll even toss Eric the Tech in there because Eric the Tech has been part of this operation, believe it or not, for 10 years. I mean, it's incredible
awesome.
when you think about it. I mean, when you think about how, but we have been through, and folks, the reason, again, I'm bringing this up because there are some experiences here that I think that all of us, you folks individually and then us collectively, can build upon.
Mm-hmm. And benefit from.
Yeah. And so there were a couple of things I wanted to address. We wanted to address, but I wanted to address directly with you folks. And again, my thanks to those people who have really or have supported us, are supporting us right now. My gosh.
Thank God for you.
It's unbelievable. But I think back to, again, because I kind of started, and I didn't finish with this, but I'm becoming like, again, my good brother, my good friend Steve Quell. I'm trying to emulate his non-linear conversational process. David, this is a tribute to you, sir, for pointing that out and kind of liking that and mentioning that. But so when 2011 happened, I think a lot of us woke up, you folks included. A lot of you. Now, I'm sure there's many of you who probably if I check the chat, I'm sure in the chat there's probably a few that have known the lie since birth. So I'm not talking to those people, but I'm talking to the people in chat and to those listening and watching this, who really kind of became more aware after the events of 9/11. The fact that things were not as they were. Now, to his credit, as we were engaged in counter-terrorism investigations post 9/11, that's Randy Taylor and myself. And I can speak for myself and a little bit for Randy Taylor during this part of the conversation. Here's what happened. And RT, and Eric, you can put us both side by side if you want. Here's what happened. And we're both on screen, RT, so don't pick your nose or pick your, you can pick your friends or whatever.
I'll stop.
All right. Yeah. But I wanted just to address this because there is an a process of evolution of thought based on experience, evolution of knowledge based on experience. And I wanted to share some things with RT. I don't know how to put this. Okay. Remember, you were on, I think you and I had talked about this, or I'd mentioned this. I've got 8,000 words, 8,000 word article. Did I tell you this? Did I say this? No?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but I know some people might remember this. I've got 8,000 words written in an article that's been on my desktop forever. I mean, for a long time.
Is this the one you just sent me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's nothing. That's only 1,100, 12. That's only 1,200 words. But and by the way, what you're going to see tonight, I do have an article that's going to be obviously it's going to be in Wisconsin Christian News the upcoming issue. And folks, that's another organization to support. Now I'm going to do a digression here, worthy of Steve Quill. Wisconsin Christian News is also an organization to support. They're really one of the last paper newspapers in America that are spreading the truth, that will allow me to write the truth and others to write the truth about what's really going on. And for Christians, specifically for Christians. And Rob, the owner editor, he's out there. I mean, he compiles the paper. Okay. Now, I don't get paid for this. Okay. And the writers don't get paid for this. So, but it's a labor of love, and it's a labor by people who give a damn about what's going on in this country. And that's what Wisconsin Christian News is. And so, I mean, he does everything from, putting the copy together to actually having the copy printed on actual printers, and then delivers to commercially all across the state by himself. All right. But the reason
that's a task.
I'm going to tell you, the guy.
Stop and think about
the
that.
guy's a machine.
Print. We're talking about print.
Yeah.
This is not digital. This is print.
I mean, newspaper, like
unbelievable.
And
unbelievable.
I got an email from him over the weekend, and kind of a running joke too. We have a certain deadline. I always miss the flipping deadline, like by 12
but at least
hours.
You're consistent.
I'm a consistent misser of deadlines, right? But he said, well, now it's not really a problem right now, because he said something happened last week and I didn't know this. And I want to share this with everyone because maybe you were affected. And folks, if you were affected, let me know in the chat by whatever happened in Wisconsin, where there was a freak hailstorm, baseball-sized hail. It demolished his vehicle and a lot of other vehicles up there. Out of nowhere, this hailstorm, baseball-sized hail, totaled his car. Just imagine that. Well, you can imagine that.
Those are freak storms, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the guy can't catch a break. But I didn't know about that. And if there's anyone that's affected by that, please let me know. I mean, my goodness, I was heartbroken thinking about him, thinking about where he's at. So I'm looking at the chat. But did you know that? I didn't know about that storm. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
it's not really common for up north. It's very common, like in Florida and Texas.
Oh, I've been down there in Florida with
That's weird.
Yeah.
Ice out of the sky in the warmest states in the union.
It's a bizarre thing. But the reason I mentioned that because I want to talk about the article or I want to give you information from the article, which kind of flows into the entire topic that we're talking about. So going back to my original lack of digression of topic, after 2001, as Randy Taylor, myself, and others, but specifically because we're still standing,
or kind of standing, sitting upright. Let's be correct here.
And folks, I'm not being mean. Okay,
don't get short with me.
and of course, for those who don't know, RT had both of his legs amputated below the knees. Okay, so yeah, it's.
But I refuse to change my driver's license. It says 6 foot. It's staying at 6 foot. Thank you.
You gotta love the guy, right? I mean, seriously.
That was funny.
I sent him an email.
4'8".
We welcome you to Lollipop.
What was that character? Tim Conway played. What was that? Golf? Yeah, that not golf, but Nerf or Gurf or where he I don't know what that was, but
Alf or something.
I don't. But and I'll say things. I'll make jokes, little slide jokes in with love about RT. But the fact is, he's one tough SOB, and I told him that this weekend. He really is. He's a tough SOB.
What was the one before the show? You got us laughing so hard.
I said, "Are you walking?" I mean,
yeah, he asked if I'm just out of the blue. We were talking about recoup and this and that, and all he said was, "Are you walking?" I thought he said it.
Okay, so I'm in the middle of show prep. I got like, and folks, okay, it's how my brain works sometimes. So I said that. It was an incomplete thought. Okay, it was. I meant to ask about the rehab aspect of his progress, and it just came out. You walking? And there was kind of like a silence, uncomfortable silence.
And I told him I had to give up my spot on Dancing with the Stars as well, so I was a little taken back.
Yeah, but yeah,
you know what? You got to laugh about it. Damn it.
Yeah, you know what?
That's it. If not, I'd eat a 45. So let's laugh
we
about
don't want that. And that's the thing too. In all of this combined, because there is a Pointed Nice episode, and it revolves heavily around where we are going here in the next, well, really from the summer of love, which I believe starts now, right through the winter. What you can expect, what I think what we kind of think you can expect.
Trouble is coming. It is. Yeah. It's on the horizon, and it's just coming in. It's rolling in, and even with Trump as president, this is coming.
Exactly, and maybe especially, I don't know. Maybe especially because Trump is president, this is coming, and that's not to disparage anybody or anything. That's just because of the conditions.
Yes,
and okay, so back to
how you talk about the perfect storm.
Whew.
That's how things are lining up.
Yeah.
And when it hits, it's going to be really screwed up. More so than Biden's term.
Things are not looking well. Okay, now I'm a big believer in being optimistic in the larger sense, through challenges. But I'm one of the most pessimistic people. I think that I know that sounds contrary, but I'm pessimistic about what we're seeing, what I'm seeing, what RT, what we're all seeing. So, however, it's in God's hands, and I believe that to be the case. But a lot of important stuff here,
without complacency, though.
Right.
That we got to qualify that.
That's true.
Because too many people will just go, "Oh, it's in God's hands,"
and then go back watching TV, which that's the problem.
And remember, his part we cannot do.
Yep.
I'm sorry, our part he will not do. Mm-hmm. You got to remember that.
Exactly.
Those are words to live by. Okay. Yeah, you could say, well, that's just the way it is. It's what it says in the Bible. You know what? What it says in the Bible has rolled onto mankind, I don't know how many times through the centuries. And people were saying, oh, it's the end times. Look at the Bible. Oh, there it is. But men got together and stopped it,
Delayed it.
delayed it, but stopped it in their whatever was immediate and in their face.
And so that's part, I guess, a little bit out of order, but I think that's part of the issue. We know that before things, before God comes in and makes things right, Jesus comes down and makes things right, there's going to be a lot of problems that we will be forced to endure. And that mindset, and ladies and gentlemen, listen to this, and please help me understand my own thoughts. And RT, you can chime in. Help me understand my own thoughts. I'm thinking to myself, look, we know what prophecy states. We do, right? So, okay.
More so than most.
I think so. Yes, I agree. So if it's going to happen, if we just kind of do nothing or whatever, we're going to be held accountable to that. Yes. But I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at my children and thinking about my children and the grandchildren. I'm looking at other people's kids and families. I want them to be able to live a relatively normal life. Mm-hmm. But I think that ship has sailed. But okay, let's mitigate the damage and try to rebuild or try to bring back to maybe some semblance of where we were at one point in our history.
Fighting for what we believe in is no different than stopping a rape happening on the street.
I agree.
You need to, if you see it, you need to do something about it. And ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing it. Okay? So if you want to know if God wants us to do something, I just told you. He absolutely wants us to do something. He gave us a beautiful gift. And we need to get people back to understanding and appreciating this beautiful gift that God has given us. Because it can be done. It's going to take some serious work, but it can be done. And now's not time for this show to collapse. Now is not the time.
I am not afraid to enter into any kind of tribulation. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not afraid to enter into or be part of the biblical tribulation. Okay, frankly, I'm just not. But I don't want my children or their kids. Okay, that's the problem I have.
That's who we do it for.
Right. Okay. So
I don't feel comfortable leaving the world to my daughter as it is.
I agree. I
don't.
No, and I don't think we should. I think, and ladies and gentlemen in the chat, and thank you for being part of the chat, those who don't disrupt, and please play nice. Okay, guys, and you know who you are. Please be nice and understand. Just be nice.
Yeah. Be gentlemen, please.
Yeah, right. So
adults.
If we do nothing, we're going to be held accountable. If we do the wrong thing, we may face some earthly justice.
Mm-hmm.
If we do the right thing, we still may face some earthly justice.
Mm-hmm.
But and the question out there is, what might we be facing regardless of anything? And here's why what I started out initially talking about 9/11 and about the process of waking up. There are so many people out there who are they're clueless. You know that, folks. They're clueless. But let me just say this. Having lived through the post 9/11 investigation with that man right there, RT, in counterterrorism, and then the on-the-ground field investigations as credentialed investigators and assets to our own government, we learned some things. Now, let me put a period right there, and allow me to digress a moment. I was watching, and it's interesting because CrimeCon was this past weekend. Okay, now I'm really not a fan of crime conventions. I'm not a fan of CrimeCon. I'm not a fan of any con. Okay, I'm not. But I love to listen to professionals, people who are very good at their jobs. And a subject came up, and if you're in that community of true crime, a subject came up, and this is where I thought about RT, and this is applicable to the greater topic. So bear with me. Eric the Tech has earned his stripes, of course, and he's worked in the field as a credentialed licensed investigator in the private sector, licensed private investigator. I've been doing that 40 years. RT's been doing that for, I don't know. So together, we've a long time. Okay. And there was in the context of the true life crime, what would you call them? I don't want to say crime enthusiasts, but crime investigation enthusiasts. That culture, okay. There was a recent discussion about, the case with Nancy Guthrie. That apparently is may only be knocked off by that. What's that? Mackenzie Sherrill that in 2022 ran into a brick wall at 100 miles an hour, killed 2 kids in the car. I don't know if you guys know about that case. That wasn't far from this studio in Ohio. But Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie and 2 other children from Tucson, on February 1st was taken from her home. That's been like the big news or the big focus of these crime shows. And which I will add to rekindled some recollections. People like, you remember John Benet Ramsey, that case back in 96?
Yeah.
Lou Smith, okay, the investigator. Tom Lang from the O.J. Simpson case. And a few other people. All of a sudden, I'm seeing people that I have, not Lou Smith, no, he passed away, but Tom Lang and some other, all of a sudden I'm seeing people that either have taught me or I've been to courses with, CE courses, or I've had some level of relationship with. But the issue of a private investigative firm or private investigator group becoming involved in a not so cold case, and that was Nancy Guthrie case. That issue came up. And the general consensus is there's nothing good that can come out of the involvement of a licensed PI in an active police homicide investigation. I have to say that's generally true. That's a generally true statement, because the one thing that a private investigator does not want to do is to, let me tell you something. You could royally screw up an investigation and make it much more difficult for the prosecution. Holy man, a lot of bad things can go sideways. But
especially if you're at odds with the police department,
which is usually the case. Okay, yeah. And here's why I mention this. And folks, John Moore, John Moore, he's been a homicide investigator. Now, his primary focus was working for the defense mostly. Okay, now there are some exceptions, but whereas mine working with prosecutors, and RT working with prosecutors, Eric the Tech working with prosecutors, and that also goes to say working with investigative agencies, police. So, and again, all of this connects. Please just follow my addled mind briefly right now.
Follow the bouncing ball.
I'm invoking the spirit of Steve. I love the guy, I'm telling you. But this is something that is important to me because I spent 40 years, almost 40 years of this doing this, which goes back to the 8,000 word unpublished article I've got. Yeah, I'm going to release it as a 6-part article, probably a 5-part article. But there's something I just don't want to do it too quick because it does involve everything that we're talking about here. But it's very specific on my personal experience, going back to 1982 with the murder of my uncle, as everyone knows, and I don't mean to dwell on that. I'm not living in the past, but I'm learning from past experiences. As an investigative agency, when you hear on podcasts and even like court TV and stuff, PIs shouldn't get involved. Generally that's true. And, we do not mess up a police investigation. But the reason I say this is because there's another side to this. That Randy Taylor and myself, Eric the Tech, we have been a part where we have actually been able to work side by side and offer, in RT's case, offer a very specialized service. In my case, offer some forensic specialties, okay? That allowed me, of course, to work and collaborate with people on the ground, homicide detectives, DAs, AUSAs, okay? Depending on in RT the same. We are assets out here that can be used for good, okay? And not just, we have never, unless you guys are moonlighting, and I don't think we've ever followed like a husband or a wife or anything like that, okay? That's not, that's
boring.
Yeah. When people think about PIs, that's what they think of. Oh, you follow wives or whatever. No, that's not what we do. We have very, very specific specialties, which is why we were a very small part of what happened in Butler, okay? Now, all of this, again, I'm just trying to understand. This past weekend, I was trying to understand, okay, what brought us here? What are we looking at in terms of what's happening from our professional perspective and what we've done in the counter-terrorism arena, as well as the criminal venue, the crime venue, because there's this interconnectivity here in the fraud venue. What are we, based on our experiences, that should tell us something. That should give us an idea of what we can expect, not as this crystal ball-like prediction, but perhaps as an indicator of patterns and performances, right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why that huge article, I haven't published it to Substack yet, because it goes back to my experiences back in 82 and ends in 87, but by default, you could take that whole experience, lift it from that decade and toss it into
somewhere else in the timeline.
Yeah. You can go to the 93 bombing of the World Trade Center. Yeah. You can go to 95 Oklahoma City.
It's history repeating itself.
Right. So that was a very, very tortured way, if you're still listening to me and thinking, oh my God, this guy's lost his marbles. I haven't. I've just been struggling in really trying to identify that very pattern that we're seeing today,
Mm-hmm.
that involves not just the crimes that we're seeing, whether it's the geoengineering or whether it's the funding of Antifa,
Crimes against humanity.
everything. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to think that
Go ahead.
God didn't put us through everything we've been through for shits and giggles.
Amen.
I
Amen.
really hope not. And I think that, like Doug's saying, we should take our combined experience and all, and it's going to better equip us for what's coming down the road.
See, I should have just let you say that and we could be done with this. But
That's the short version.
But there's so much more to that. It's a really more nuanced thing.
It's a deep subject.
Really. It really is, because I had last week I was on the road, and that trip was just when I mentioned, that trip, the children out there that are missing, and then the vulnerable, the elderly that are missing, folks, they're a part of this too. They're a part of this larger mosaic of criminal activity. That's not just, it's beyond, it's demonic.
It's not by accident.
Right.
This is not by accident. This is planned.
Okay, exactly. And the cartels in Mexico, or the multinational terrorist organizations that were brought in during the Biden years, okay?
Yep.
They play a big role in this in terms of attacking our elderly, the most vulnerable among us, our children.
Yep.
Okay, and we found the fingerprints of several multinational terrorist organizations in child abductions, in addition to the fingerprints, Artie, of state organizations. Imagine, it's like CPS and stuff like that. But there is this common thread, I guess, and I wanted to bring everyone aboard to understand my mental torture in trying to kind of wrap my arms around the enormity of what we've seen, distill it into digestible parts, and then explain it. And also, but explain it with, and then not predict, but show this is the same pattern repeating over and over again based on our experiences, but how to do that. So that's the torturous thing that I've been wrestling with. And hey, maybe RT, maybe, it's easier for, maybe it's, you said it very well, but to live it, to experience it, to see it, and then to see what could be coming.
Well, I'm seeing it coming again. I'm not sure exactly how to deal with it. Especially because of the enormity of it. It's enormous. It's huge. And
exactly, yeah.
This in the States, it's at a serious level, but it's even at a far more serious level outside of the States. And the world is slowly closing in on the United States. You gotta grasp that. You gotta understand these globalists are slowly, and Trump is doing his best by letting the UN collapse and pulling out of the WHO. He's doing all the right things on paper. Okay. But as you indicated when you sent me something earlier, Doug, a third of our population is here illegally.
That is...
And you need to think about that.
Greg Bovino was interviewed. I saw it on X, and I didn't save the interview. I guess I can go through my history. But he had mentioned...
Yeah, if you liked it or anything, it'll be in your history.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that momentarily. But he was interviewed, and he said that the number of illegals in this country in totality is 100 million. Okay, yeah. Now, I thought, wait a second. Is that even possible? The more I dug, the more research I did, the more I realized all the numbers that we have of the illegals here that number is absolute 100% right on target. 100 million people in this country illegally.
And
Men, women, and children.
think from all over the world. Where don't think just Mexico, okay? Not just Mexicans. All right, everybody out of Europe, Russians, Iranians,
Yeah.
tons out all over the Middle East, Africa, South America. We've been invaded, ladies and gentlemen. The enemy is here, and I don't want to hear about these poor people and all. I don't give a damn about these poor people. I give a damn about Americans. Okay, I mean that. I don't, Doug. I don't care if they're starving in their country. You go home and fix it.
But I would argue that the number of those who are starving, like you mentioned, or under political oppression, personal or up close and personal, I should say, that need to flee the country, that number is much less than.
Oh yeah, because they didn't. These people. We're not talking about people that used the gate here. We're talking about people that crawled under the fence. That's the problem. As soon as you crawl under the fence, you've already broken the law in the United States.
Right.
That's what people can't seem to absorb. That's what the left cannot seem to absorb. They're already criminals. They've already spit in the face of America by crawling under the fence. Why couldn't you use the damn gate? Okay? And if it's because, well, they won't let me in, why won't they let you in? Maybe that answers all the questions right there. But the people, the problem are the ones that have crawled under the fence. Or when Biden was here, walked right on in. That's the problem. These aren't people that walked in and checked in with Border Patrol. That's what the people failing to understand. And well, they're starving in their country. I don't care. We got people starving in the United States. Nobody's doing anything about it. Okay? But the people that sneak into the country, that break the law to get here, I have no sympathy for you. None. If you had filed a refugee claim or if you'd come in the gate, then fine. You've done it the way we're all immigrants from somewhere. Our families are. Mine, right. Scotland, 1929. Okay? But they did it the right way. They came in through New York. They came in through with the immigration there and started a life.
And they built
this country.
They did. They helped build a better society.
Yeah, they built Canada. They the working middle class, the greatest people in the world, the working middle class. They are the greatest people on the planet. They built these countries. Their tax dollars built these countries. And guess who's taking the brunt of the abuse? The middle class working Americans.
Absolutely.
They do. They've taken tax money from us for our entire lives. And then we get to the end, there's nothing there for us. Social Security. What a joke.
No.
It's ridiculous. It is. And then I just sent Doug a report. I was browsing through some stuff from Canada, how they're up there studying on how many trillions they can save if they start broadening the people that they're euthanizing with the MAID program. If they start broadening the groups. Yeah. To handicapped people like me, people that are a burden on a medical system. They're talking about putting them down. We're not talking about signing up and coming to it and going, hey, do you want to do this? No. Coming, and it was a study done for the government. Okay. And it's actually circulating. You can go on X and find it. I sent it to Eric. He can put it up on the screen if you want.
Did you send it?
I did send it to Eric.
By text or?
Oh, crap. I sent it by text. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway,
well, Eric, if you want to put that up, because it is germane to what we're talking about. It's
unbelievable that anyone would sit down and try and calculate this. I mean, these are the kind of people what kind of person would sit down and even do the study, would even participate in the study? These people that did this study, there's two names right at the top of it. Those two people need to be removed from humanity. Okay? Because they're dangerous. Anyone that thinks like this is dangerous to humanity. and they need to be removed from
What I
humanity
got from
and put somewhere to where they can never ever hurt or even talk about hurting human beings again.
Just so we're clear, because people might take that the wrong way, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. People can think whatever they want to think, but to promote or to actually have a study funded and then research,
Or even considered by the government.
right? There's a whole lot wrong with all that.
That's very wrong.
I mean, any number of ways. There's a whole lot wrong with that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's just not wrong think, because folks, people can think what they want to think, but
to put it in writing, and then the possibility that the government may adopt it,
yeah,
because of over $1 trillion saved by not dealing. They're talking about when older people, instead of putting them in a nursing home when they can't look after themselves, sticking them in the van, taking them down, killing them. That's what we're talking about here. And I'm not making that up. It says it plain and simple in the first paragraph that gives you a summary on this report. It's a 28-page report. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable that this is even being considered.
So when you look back, our thinking, your thinking, my thinking, because we kind of knew each other back immediately post 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
The humanity of people, the morality, it wasn't necessarily like that. Yes, it existed. Okay, that thought process, that agenda was present. I mean, it's been present for a long time, obviously.
Yeah, but it was more contained to groups of people, like Muslims, wishing that type of harm on non-Muslims. But coming from a government, you sit there and you wonder, how did we get to this point?
Eugenics, though, that's been that is so long.
It's not the first time around. I just thought we had risen from that. But no, we haven't. Be advised, we haven't.
And that's part of the pattern, and this is why, to me, RT and folks, this is why the enormity of what we're dealing with today. It's not just, for example, I think back, in '82, my personal experiences back then, and then 1987, when I, personal experiences back then, or professional experiences back then, and then taking it to 90, then only watching as a spectator the investigation, or what happened in the '93 World Trade Center bombing, and then Oklahoma City, and of course you had Waco in there and all of that, and then taking that to post 9/11 RT, me, and then coming full throttle into where we're at today with RT, with Eric the Tech, and here we are today. So the enormity of the totality of agendas that are emerging. I don't know how to really describe this, but to see this convergence of agendas.
It's the strategies of tension that we've been talking about. Now all the pieces are really starting to collide, as Doug's saying. You've got this group against this group, 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 but they have one common thing, and that's to all be against humanity.
Right. And the force multipliers that include the internet, but specifically social media.
Yes.
And then you've got
uneducation and callousness. Yep. Okay. Our kids are callous today because they've been programmed to be calloused. Okay. When they started playing Grand Theft Auto, things started changing. Okay. Their video games that they play and all are so violent.
Which, again,
blows my mind.
Thank you, because that was one of the issues when I mentioned true crime, I should have mentioned Mackenzie Shirilla in Strongsville, which is gaining. Oh my gosh! That case, that criminal case, is really. It could be a court exhibit into exactly what Randy Taylor's talking about. Okay, where social media played a role in what she did, and what she is still doing in prison. She was convicted of she killed 2 people, but her prison-like behavior. All that to say that a lot of the things that we saw decades ago we're seeing today, but they have been extremely refined, weaponized, and set out against all of us. Mm-hmm. By orders of magnitude that we could have never predicted back then.
And the sad part is, in any one of these circumstances, there's a group of people that say, oh, well, they're not that bad, that support this type of behavior, that find a loophole somewhere in the moral compass of humanity, and they go, well, and those are the ones that scare me, because this kind of stuff should be shut out, shunned, discouraged. Even our governments, look what the governments have done to the children, even with the COVID stuff, especially now, once again, outside of the United States, worse than anywhere. Okay.
But still bad here.
Yeah, bad there, bad here. Okay. Bad here in the United States, but in Canada, it was awful. And the kids with this transgenderism, all of that, and what they've done to the children, it's unforgivable. It's absolutely unforgivable. It has screwed kids up for life. But it's like getting them used to something. That's the thing. Everybody's being programmed, and if you're not woke, okay, then you're resisting the program.
Right.
And good for you. Good for you. But are you 100% across the board? Are you only doing it on 50% of the things? You know what I'm saying? You got to sit down and evaluate yourself and see where you actually fall, because it's going to only get worse. The programming of mankind is off the charts at this point. Off the charts.
Which I struggle. See, that is something, RT, that I struggle with, because we can sit here and we can talk about this, the events that we're talking about, but for people to ignore the immense programming that's so efficiently being used against us, and the number of people who are under the influence of the programming and are either lost to that or held mental hostage from that. The non-paid protesters, the cannon fodder that we see in the streets at these ICE detention facilities, for example. How do we explain that behavior?
I don't know. See, and you sit there and we look at it, and we're sitting there, we actually, automatically check the box if there's something wrong with them mentally. Because it's like no one should have their moral compass in no way, shape, or form should be where it's at. Or there's a complete lack of a moral compass, which is even scarier, and we see that too. Anyone, for example, that one chick we see that wears the t-shirts that says she's had 17 abortions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that is a mentally ill person that should be in a building somewhere and being spoken to by teams of doctors. Because that person walking around on the street is a danger to humanity.
But are we? But we can address it that way, and I agree 100%. But at the root of all of that is RT is evil. Okay, is demonic.
Oh, Satan, yeah. Satan is alive and well on planet Earth.
Right. And yeah.
It's all Satan driven. Every bit of it. It's all Satan driven.
And maybe that's a better way of, to me. Okay, that's why I folks. That's why I really struggle with this, is because, again, the enormity of the issues. It's one thing to turn on some very, very popular podcasts and to hear the headlines. This, to hear the stories, to hear the reports of things happening. But you know what? We go in deeper. To me, it does nothing, and I know RT's the same way. It does nothing
to scratch a headline.
Right.
Yeah, we could sit here and tell you headlines all day long, but if we don't sit there and dissect the stories for you, we're not worth a damn. We're just like the rest of them. And that's the thing. Everybody, these podcasts that Doug's talking about, it's all headlines. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I could change the word in a headline and change the whole meaning of what you think you're looking at. If you
Which is part of the program.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Why do you think the media has been caught working with the Central Intelligence Agency to put out your evening news? And you know that crap that plays in the background when you're at the dentist's office and the doctor's office, when that black thing hanging on the wall that repeats the same thing every half hour? That's not by accident. Okay, you're being programmed and you're living on headlines, because on any one of those stories, they might add 2 or 3 sentences at best and it's over. Or they're cherry-picked headlines. You know what I'm saying?
They
a lot of the things they should be talking about, Doug, they don't even scratch, they don't even mention.
And that's by design.
Absolutely. But people have fallen for this. And when Ted Turner started that 24-hour news cycle, the mass programming of America like had never been done before, and the mass programming of Canada and Europe went in full swing. Look around the world and see where it's getting them. Do you want the United States to be like Britain? I want you to stop and think about that. You really need to think about it hard, because you don't know anything about Britain.
Any place in Europe, I should add.
Well, yeah, but the UK is a great shining example.
Right.
And people don't even dig into it because you don't hear the headlines from Britain, because you don't enter, Google UK and get their Google and actually run a search there. Everybody just goes to Google US and does their search, and that's the headlines. Not a word about what's going on in the rest of the world. And the thing is, all of that actually affects us, and that's what's coming.
And hence my issues. The way I joke with my wife, the articles I do write and submit, the word count. It's 1,147 words. Well, the trick is finding the right ones and then putting them in the right order to convey a thought. But when you look at what RT just stated, I mean, when you look at what's going on, and when you look at what has gone on, and then you look at the patterns interlaced between current and past events to see what's in the immediate future, and we'll show you a couple of things right now, a couple of examples. But
because you got to remember, okay, things that are going on in other countries haven't happened in the United States, because the United States is armed.
For now,
and right now there's a Republican president in the office. That's going to change. It always changes. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up staring down the gun barrel like they are overseas. And what's going on in Britain, what's going on in Ireland. You wouldn't recognize Ireland today. Okay? What's going on in Germany? Europe has been invaded by Islam. Okay? And now, what started UK's downfall was when they brought in an Islamic mayor after 9/11 into London.
Where do we hear this more recently? But come on.
Okay. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We now have an Islamic mayor in the largest city in the United States, New York City. And we fucking allowed it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, especially after 9/11. Are you kidding me? and we're just sitting back on our asses. This is what started the downfall in the UK. And now you're talking about under a Republican president, this son of a bitch got into office. And nobody is doing anything about it. You have no idea what's next, what's coming.
Well,
they talk about it. We talk about it, and we try and warn you.
Let's give them a taste of what is coming.
Man, we're going to try and do that. We're going to try and educate you. Yep.
All right. So we've got skin in the game, RT and I. Yeah. Video 2. On May 25th or 26th, I'm not sure which, we were at this corner, Randy Taylor and myself. We were doing some surveillance. This is back in, I don't know when it was. It was 2006, 7, 8, I don't know, in that time period. And I remember we spent a lot of time here. In fact, I could show you where we were, but this, I want to show you what happened in this 35-second clip in Buffalo, New York, at the very precise location where RT and I spent a lot of time in a vehicle, waiting for some things to happen, that we actually interfaced with government agencies and provided them with information, which was really never acted upon properly. But that's another point. But before we get to the real meat of everything, I want to show you this because this will look familiar to you, RT. I didn't show you this before the show, so this will look familiar to you. Cut to 35 seconds. Go ahead and play that one ready. Yeah, we can, I guess, the audio. Sorry about that. Okay, to explain what happened, quite simply, it was May 23rd.
I didn't mean to scream like that. I'm just kidding.
See, and I don't know if you recognize. So, see, that brick building, brick building on the left. Yeah. If you look down on the right-hand side, there's a parking lot, and we spent a lot of time in that parking lot. Anyway, this incident that you're seeing on play out on your screen happened on Saturday, May 23rd. It was east side of Buffalo, on Broadway. There was a cruiser that was stopped, a marked car that was stopped by somebody walking down the street, and said, "Hey, there's a guy in trouble down the road." Well, what happened was the officers went out to investigate, and in their investigation, it was a man pulled out a pair of scissors from one pocket. From the other pocket, he pulled out a box cutter. And there was an attempt to disarm him by one of the officers, and struggle ensued, and the suspect stabbed one of the officers in the back. All right. The guy was tased, but that didn't stop him. So you're seeing this play out from, I believe it, I'm not sure where this video came from. There's a couple of alternate videos here, or a couple of different sources, but one is a stationary surveillance cam. The other, I think, is from the inside of somebody's TikTok. They, instead of helping, they put it on TikTok, which is a problem by itself. But this is what's happening across America right now. The suspect, I haven't really followed up, because that was not necessarily the point of this. When I saw this, aside from recognizing the area and thinking about RT, I'm thinking about, okay, here we are in this culture clash were neck deep in
and,
this.
and afraid to shoot the son of a bitch because he's a Muslim.
In this case, I'm not 100% sure if he is, but this area is heavily ethnic. So,
And even if it wasn't, the cops are under the gun now. They can't defend themselves. That's by design. Same thing in Canada. Up there, they're not prosecuting these foreigners that they brought in who are guilty of rape, sodomy, murder, and minimal sentences. No bail situations immediately. They're brought in. You and I, Doug, we'd be on, $500,000 bail. They're released on their own recognizance. It's crazy. It's insane.
And I also have, and I'll send Eric a couple of these.
I was just glad it wasn't the hooker video.
The hooker video. That's never going to see the light of day. Okay. No, we should roll that out at some point. The B-roll, the video, real videotape that never made the courtroom. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. But I wanted to just kind of remind RT of that. So okay, the other here's some unfinished business that does relate to all of this because of the enormity of it all. I don't know how many people remember our involvement as very precise. Our mission for the Butler, Pennsylvania attempted assassination of President Trump. Okay, we had a very limited assignment, or our assignment was very. How can I even put that?
Very limited. You said it.
Limited. But I wanted to be more colorful with that. We were tasked with a very specific part of that investigation.
The depth of the investigation was very limited.
Right. But we played roles but part of that mission, that task that we had overlapped into other areas. And that made people really uncomfortable. Because, Randy Taylor and myself, we're very shy guys when we're out there.
It's us.
Yeah.
Ready to ask a question.
Yeah, we cower. We cower. So recently, this could have been through FOIA. I'm not even sure how this was dropped. Folks, did you hear this? Did you hear the audio report of Crooks's father calling 911 or 911, calling 911?
On the day of.
This deserves
it deserves a play. Yeah.
All right. So this is video 3. This actually is in the form of a video. It's under 2 minutes. This is posted by Tom. I'm sorry. The how it was dropped was a FOIA through Judicial Watch and was posted by Tom Fenton.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah. So it's 1:57, but this speaks to the enormity of where we're at. But this also raises so many other questions, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it lets you know why nobody's in jail. It's just another indicator.
Right.
We had no access to this. We didn't know about this.
Well, it was worse than that, to be honest. We were prevented from pursuing certain things.
And
now, I'll just leave it there. No, you know me. I'm not going to leave it there. But let's play the audio or the video.
Let's get in trouble, man.
Yeah. Cut to.
Bethel Park Police. This is Allegheny with a transfer. Go ahead, caller. Can I help you?
Hi, yes. My name's Matthew Crooks. I was calling in regards to my son, Thomas. He belongs to the Clareton Sportsman Club in Clareton,
Okay.
and I don't have the number for Jefferson Police on hand, The reason I'm calling is he left the house here at about 1:45 this afternoon, and we've gotten no contact from him, no text messages, nothing's been returned, and he's not home yet. That's totally not like him, so we're kind of worried, not really sure what we should do.
Okay. And you're at...
Yes.
All right. Okay. Hold on 1 second for me. What's a good phone number for you? All right. How old is he?
He's 20 years old.
All right. And you said it was about 1:45 today?
Yeah, about 1:45 this afternoon. Like I said, he belongs to the Clareton Sportsman Club or Gun Club, and he took a rifle of his out there, and it's routine. He always does it, but he's usually back within 2 hours.
Okay.
And we've been texting him, leaving him messages on his phone. He's not been returning any of our texts or messages, which is totally not like him. And, you know, we're going on 11 o'clock, and he still hasn't come back or contacted us, so we're kind of worried. We don't know if he's been in an accident or if something else happened to him.
Okay. I was going to say, just keep your phone handy, and I'll get somebody to come and help you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
There you have it. So, what time did he say that was?
11 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, a.m. That would be 11 a.m.
No. PM. You were right. PM. That was Thomas Crook's father. How many people, folks, did you notice anything? How many times was that Sportsman's Club mentioned?
Yeah. That sounded like an ass covering phone call.
Oh, it was more than that. Do you know that within seconds, or minutes, I should say, of the FBI on that roof, they knew exactly who that person was, and within an hour, I would say by 45 minutes at the latest, that neighborhood was essentially surrounded by federal, state, and county, and local law enforcement. Matthew Crooks knew exactly what the hell was going on. Here's one of the reasons why I mentioned it again, the enormity of everything. It was President Trump himself who canceled all of the further investigation of the assassination attempts that included Florida as well as Butler. Why? I'm just asking that question. Why?
That's a damn good question.
You know, if that would have been you or I, RT on the stage, or Eric the Tech on the stage, or anyone listening or watching this, and y'all got shot, nicked in the ear. If you didn't really give a crap about the threat to you,
Family.
but you know what? There is a man that's dead, a fireman that took a bullet, and two others that were gravely injured by bullets. You owe that family. You owe those families.
At the very least.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah, something's definitely amiss there.
Okay, so you take that. Eric the Tech, let me ask you a question, because this is on the fly, I guess, obviously. Are you able to access and perhaps, put up images from our Photoshop account library? No, in the actual program itself. All right. I'll tell you what. We'll put that aside because I did want to show. I want to show from. I had mentioned the 1980s. I want to show people that we have skin in the game to the extent that when you start asking questions, you start getting in trouble.
Mm.
And you start getting tossed in jail.
Yeah.
Or you get charges. You get subpoenaed. You get dragged into court. You get dragged into,
All kinds of things, yeah.
Right.
When you ask the wrong questions, yeah. I know around 2008, 2009, that's why I got out of it. I was afraid.
See, yes.
I didn't know who was who. And when they were talking about the DOJ coming after me because they were basically saying that if I had all this information and I was this good, that I had to be one of them. That's a scary thing when you stop and look at what was going on with them just throwing people in jail.
And it's not just, it's not, you're right. Yes.
It was scary. The whole thing was scary. You know how many times I got in trouble with the feds because we posted stuff on the website that I should have turned in so that they could classify it and it never be seen again. But instead, I'd made the decision to give it to Doug and said, okay, we're going to post this. Knowing full well I was going to get my ass chewed for it. Yep. But I was such a valuable asset that I could get away with that. And we put a lot of information out to the American people because we felt you deserved to know.
And it was a strategic. It was a move that was very strategic. It was very strategic, and this again goes a little bit ahead of not. There's stuff coming here. There's stuff coming this summer. However, if we can do things, if we do things right, intact, or strategically, like you said, there is a possibility that we could possibly
change what's coming.
Change exactly. And in that in that program, I have some visuals to show you that
we actually
did that.
Eric, while Eric is, see if you can dig in there.
Regardless of that, let's go.
I like pictures.
Oh yeah, I do too. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go to a video. Nick Sorter infiltrated an Antifa camp. Okay. Many people. I don't know how many people saw this.
This is in New Jersey.
Yes,
Newark.
Okay, now what has happened in the past and what is coming this summer, and the pattern that connects the two. It is so blatantly obvious, folks. We can write the script because I think we're about to nail what is happening, and not only that, who is behind it. We know who is behind it, and some of the players, key players, and some other things that do connect this intricate web of alliances. It's just incredible. But we'd like to show you cut one, Nick Sorter. All credit goes to Nick Sorter. This is his infiltration of an Antifa camp in Newark that shouldn't be there.
Mm. And bear in mind, and remember this while you're watching this, these people are paid. This isn't, like a weekend at Bernie's, okay? These people are being paid.
Right. It's a struggle for me, folks. If you're listening, if you're watching this, for RT and myself, for different reasons, from different perspectives, this is a struggle because it's a struggle for me to explain, to convey with the necessary sobriety. I know I've lived portions of this. I've experienced, and so has RT on the inside, and I know what will be happening is going to be very painful for everyone. Here's what's been deployed. cut one.
I don't think it's good. I don't think
But that's what I'm saying. If it's new, I know there's something to talk about. If someone else is coming to me, I know it's not actually. But I don't know right now. I'm probably not telling myself that topic.
Do you know if there's hand sanitizer anywhere? Like, or wipes or something? I'm sorry, what? Medical tent. Medical tent? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Go to the medical tent and see if we get oh, lasagna! Look at that!
Hey, goodbye, you're back. I'm leaving.
I don't know how good these Palantir drones are.
Medical tent? Is that? Okay. Oh, you got it. Thank you. Just need hand sanitizer.
Over there. Okay. On that table over there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
It was so serious. They were going to
make a full for everything. Yeah. And then I'm going to tape out the map here. Yeah.
one of the children over there. You couldn't move all
So, obviously, for the audio folks, my apologies. You really got nothing out of that except the visuals of that. If you know what you're looking for, you can identify them. Eric Tech, if you don't mind putting on screen the attachment. This is part of that. And this is what RT referenced at the beginning or early part of the show. This is something based on our collective research and something that I wrote that you can find in Wisconsin Christian News, the upcoming or the upcoming issue. And this, folks, to me, this is important for everyone to understand. As we stated earlier, not 10 or 20 million, but 100 million people, or nearly a third of our population, are inside the U.S. illegally. Illegal aliens, men, women, and children. Under Biden alone, with the facilitated by Mayorkas in conjunction with NGOs, the UN, and other multinational organizations. Under Biden alone, 40 million. And of that 40 million, the majority were over half, which is the majority, were men of military fighting age.
Which is 18 to 35.
Right. And or members of foreign gangs. So what you saw...
And that's just the gangs we know about.
Right. That's very true. Thank you. So while people are righteously angry by seeing these demonstrations and everything, the protests at these ICE facilities, but there's a bigger point that's being missed here. And that's what everyone needs to really, I think, wrap their heads around. Because what was shown, or maybe this was not shown here, but in some of these tents, military-grade supplies are being deployed to what they're terming as forward operating bases inside the U.S., including military spec helmets, body armor, shields, respirators, impact goggles, medical supplies. And the one thing that was shown in there was a military-grade chemical decontamination wipes. You may think, well, wait a second, you can get those on Amazon. No, you can't.
No.
So if you look at what happened at the end of May, the Delaney Hill ICE detention facility, Newark, New Jersey, that became the new epicenter of the latest anti-ICE operation that began on May 22nd. Because why? Well, some detainees at this center here illegally complained about the conditions and went on a hunger strike. And then you had the governor of New Jersey and the Democratic, one Democratic senator, one U.S. House member, trying to access to get in to take a look, which they did, some did. And they were saying, how horrible the conditions were. That was a bunch of crap. No, it's not. But aside from that,
they're actually very well taken care of when they're taken into ICE custody. I don't know where these stories come from because they're complete bullshit.
Absolutely.
I've seen the inside of the detention centers. These people are not mistreated. ICE is afraid to mistreat them.
Right.
They're under such scrutiny. This is all horseshit peddled by the left. And then Soros and his little freaking nephew. Okay, there's a problem there.
His son and nephew. His son.
I wish I had legs. Maybe God took my legs for this specific reason. I don't know.
Took the legs right out from underneath you because you'd be out there.
I'll tell you what. I would end some careers.
Yeah.
And sleep like a baby at night. We're at war. We're at war. If you don't see it, our forefathers had to fight, had to spill blood to protect this country. Thomas Jefferson told us that this was going to happen. Okay? Some of the stuff you can't vote your way out of.
No.
People have to understand that.
Well,
and what's coming, and it's all, and a lot of it's because the conservatives have always been decent people. We're decent people. Are we willing to grab a rifle and go out in the street? You know what I mean? Because this summer, they're going to find out. What do you think these people are arming up for? They're not going camping.
I'm very concerned about this because
this is so ungodly real. This isn't supposed. These people are prepared for war. They're preparing for war. And we're all sitting around going, we've got an M16 or AR-15. I'll be okay. Really? How well are you going to last on your own?
And here's the other.
How long are you going to last on your own?
You're not. That's one of the big problems.
Yeah, we're not together, man. Look at these people. They all love each other. They're all into this thing together. They're blah, blah, blah. They've all been brainwashed. They think Trump is bad, Orange Man bad. And the people that support him, MAGA, should die. I ran into that. They're playing that stinking movie again, The Hunt.
Go ahead and full screen him. What are you talking about?
That movie where they grabbed a bunch of conservatives and drop them on this, it's like a plantation or something, and then they're hunted down by leftists and slaughtered. Okay. The movie's out again. I thought that movie got buried and put away. Absolutely. This is crazy. What's coming is crazy.
Well,
it's crazy.
What bothers me and what bothers all of us here is people will look at Delaney Hall and look at the protest and say, this is just another protest, another riot, right? And
another summer of love, right?
Ooh, wrong.
Right?
No.
Right, Doug?
No. Yeah. How wrong is this? And I'll tell you the reason. Well, the irony part of this in that article that I wrote, Delaney Hall was actually, let me just look at this. Delaney Hall was opened in 2000 as a correctional and rehab center. Guess what happened in 2011. It was changed into a detention center for illegals in this country. And guess who did it? Obama. If you want to show that picture, it would be the second picture in that article. This is Obama cutting the ribbon to open that very center to house illegals. And there it is. Obama did that. He took that facility that's at the epicenter of the latest protests, which are riots, which are really, it's a combat preparation. He was the one that switched it from a rehab facility, essentially, to a detention center for illegals. He was the one. Guess what Trump did? 2017. He shut it down. Guess what he had to do in 2025 because of Biden and Obama and Mayorkas and every other one of these leftist bastards out there? He had to reopen it. So, are you hearing any of this out there?
All that is
talking
on.
about this? Right. But here's what's even worse. That why there? Why, for example, why not maintain or increase your presence in Wisconsin or Portland or, not Wisconsin, but Minnesota or Portland? Why there? Oh, I'll tell you why. As if I wouldn't. Delaney Ice Detention Facility was chosen carefully. We have seen the communications about this facility. Why choose this facility? And who chose it? Well, the why is simple. Kind of like real estate. Location, location, location.
There must be a 7-Eleven close by.
And a Dunkin' Donuts. Right? Now, it's situated in the very heavily industrialized area. And it is very close to New York City, Jersey City. It's one of the heaviest populated leftist, it's the most densely populated areas of our country is right there.
And
it's located at 451.
Aren't ports nearby?
There are. New York City is a transit ride away, a short Uber ride away. Jersey City, every major popular, just everybody who's a leftist, basically, is located within a stone's throw of that place. The media, New York City media, is very close by. So guarantee, if anything happens there, they'll be there. Almost concurrent with the event.
They'll be invited.
Oh yeah.
The leftists do that. This is not by accident. Stop and look at this. These people are arming up.
Yeah.
This is the Ukrainian army would have loved to have this much on the ground.
This was chosen for a reason.
Unbelievable.
Those reasons. And the other part, it's not that far from Washington, D.C. And obviously it's not that far from Philly. And in terms of relatively speaking, as opposed to Portland or as opposed to the Minnesota.
They can put a cargo plane in the air fully loaded with their supplies and all and have it anywhere in the United States in no time.
Yep.
That's easy. This is an epicenter because it's like a command center.
And that's exactly what it is, but no one is talking about
it. And that's it. And we're in trouble because this place shouldn't exist. In a rational, civilized society, this place shouldn't exist.
Exactly.
Trouble is coming.
So the funding,
And
all of the
nobody's
supplies
talking
you
about
saw.
this, Doug. Nobody, no podcasters, nobody's talking about this,
see,
really.
And look, I was guilty of this. I would play look at how bad these protest riots are. But here's the problem that no one's talking about. And you're right, no one's talking about the depth of the problem, which is, okay, the location. This is so strategically important for the left. This reminds me a lot of the Occupy Wall Street movement, the Rose City Antifa.
People don't realize, though, you've got retired generals that are involved in this bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of strategy and planning going on here. And then you've got Soros' billions behind it. There's a problem. He just wants to destroy the United States. That's all he wants to do. He lives for that. That's what's keeping that old bastard alive. I kid you not. And then we've got his offspring, his nephew. That.
Well, there are two at the,
and that's just the funding part. There's far more going on here.
You've got Soros, okay, and his family, and NGOs, and you've got Neville Singham. Now, there are two different types of people. Neville Roy Singham is a U.S. citizen who lives in Shanghai. He is really tightly intertwined with the Chinese Communist Party. And of course, you have Soros, who's in family et al. He's of course a U.S. citizen in the U.S. The way to deal with this, and the way this should be dealt with, which sadly I'm here to tell you, it's not gonna happen this way. But the remedies available to us include, and I'm not going to, they're the usual suspects of groups that could be gone after. But the Treasury Department could go after and expedite federal sanctions against Singham, freeze his assets. The Department of Justice could invoke the FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, at least begin investigations, and then swear to warrant. With regard to Soros, of course, because he is physically in the U.S. and is a U.S. citizen, he's got to be handled a little bit differently, but the Treasury Department can do the same thing, as well as the Department of Justice. Similar, okay. They could be charged with impeding the physical obstruction of federal operations or even infrastructure. So that's if we had a serious DOJ, a serious administration. Sadly, I'm sad to say that, a serious administration. This could be dealt with. The episode, so the reason all of this, the enormity of what we're seeing right now, is reflected in just that one, in my view, is reflected in that one move. Let's start something here. Because you know why? It's that important. It's geographically important. And what that signals to us, or me, is the invocation of a pattern that we saw over and over and over again, coming up to where we're at today. And you can actually trace this back into the Vietnam War era. You can also trace this back into and apply the Kevin Bass component to this, or Kevin Bass, Karen Bass, the mayor of LA. Her involvement in the gang, or in the communist group, the Cuban Tide group that bombed the Capitol in 1983. Now she's mayor.
Mm-hmm. And all these people, sure, you got Trump in office up here, but you're talking state level. These things are going on, and the federal government really has no control over these things. No. Just stop and think about that. It's like with a poll worker that was locked up forever there, in Colorado or something.
Tina Peters, yeah.
Yeah, she's locked up forever. Trump couldn't for her.
She's still there.
Trump can't for her. It's a state thing. See, in these governors, and then you got like New York. Look at what's going on there. What are you going to do? What is Trump going to do in New York unless he sent the military in? You understand what I'm saying? We've gotten ourselves into a real pickle here, ladies and gentlemen. And
See,
in numerous states.
he can, RT, he can do something.
Okay, but what is he going to do?
Okay, with regard to Tina Peters, he could have marshals go into that prison and on the way in punch the fucking warden in the face, all right, and take custody of Tina Peters as a federal witness. Okay, that's what he should have done, or should have had ordered to have done. I don't give it.
And
damn.
why is he dragging his feet? See, these are the questions I have now.
Think about, well,
you know, what's going on here with President Trump?
All right, there's that. I mentioned Bovino. Where's Bovino? Bovino was in the air on his way to Minnesota before that Renee Good was shot, right? But he got blamed for it. His group got blamed for it. When he hit the ground, Greg Bovino, as head of CPB, was doing an effective job, but yet he got pulled from that position. And policies were changed by the Trump people. Why?
Yeah. So we might have a Trojan horse on our hands here.
Trump inexplicably says, you know what? We're going to shut down all investigations about the assassination.
And that blows my mind. That right there just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at all the things that Trump. See, Barack Hussein Obama should be in prison.
There you go.
He should be at least being held with no bail, pending a trial. None of those people, and I can give you a list. I mean, come on, the government's got the list. They know. We know who these people are that tried to overthrow our government, and he is in the position to do it. Trump is in position to have something done, and nothing is happening.
But people will say, "Oh, well, stuff is happening. You're just not."
But it's bullshit that doesn't matter.
It's a lot of
distraction,
flowery stuff. Yeah,
it is. It is flowery shit. Okay, and this is what. Listen, we're going into bad times here, and I'd like to see this program stick around. Nobody's telling you this. We're trying to tell you something. Okay, now we're going to be telling you a lot more, but we got to be here to do that.
Yes, but I also want to say we have to do this carefully because
we're in danger. We get ourselves into dangerous waters. It's just like just before, back when Biden was president, and we were after him, we were slamming him, we were telling everybody everything we knew, and that's when Doug's phone rings. That's when suddenly he's got people parked down the street from his house.
Which
it's crazy.
Look, we're not. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I'd rather be. I'd prefer to be effective.
Yes,
and help others to be effective. Okay, the surveillance, and God bless Nick's order to infiltrate these encampments and to identify or to show people what's going on. But the fault. See, the problem is. That is a forward operating base at a very select geographical location, operational because of foreign influence and domestic terrorist leftists. With the it's being facilitated by people in power at a state level, at a county level, and the police in and around that area are protecting the
bad guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And think about that. If you don't get the media fanfare that this kind of stuff deserves, nobody in the country is really going to know about it. Because I can tell you, everybody in the country is not watching this show. Too bad. I wish they were. Okay. But everybody in America needs to know about this. Every conservative in America needs to hear what we said here tonight. Everybody. This what's bad is coming. It's bad. It is bad. Bad. Okay, this is like you've never seen.
And people will say, "Well, spit out what's coming." It's a stripping of our rights. It's a stripping of our liberties. It will. What's going to happen is the blowback because of this.
Yes,
and the propaganda.
When they hit the streets, yeah. Okay, and start terrorizing every city in the United States, every major city, the place will go on lockdown. You'll be under martial law.
And who will be punished for going after or protecting their own stuff. It's going to be us,
Mhm.
you and me. I mean, the people. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what is planned.
Understand that? Do you get it? This is that strategy of tension coming full head. This is by design. Everything's coming to center mass. There's going to be an explosion. You got to understand this. This is going to collide. This is like a meteor hitting Earth. This is bad. They're not arming up to go camping. They're not going on a float trip. Okay?
How can we explain this better?
I don't
Please,
know. I wish I could explain it better. We've already covered how a small group of people can shut down a city overnight. I'll tell you right now, you give me 50 people, and I guarantee you I could shut down any major city in the United States literally in minutes. I guarantee it because I know it can be done. I've seen the battle plans before. Okay, and then these people and the Muslims are no stranger to Antifa. Why? Common goal. They'll settle it out and kill Antifa later. And I mean that. But for now, Antifa is very valuable to the Muslim movement. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it weakens America because if our resources are tied up fighting Antifa, we're going to spend a whole lot less on counterterrorism, which is a real threat as well. Both groups present a real threat, a deadly threat. Schools, churches, shopping centers, stadiums, cruise ships, everything.
The churches who are not
targets.
While I'm thinking of this, I want to toss this out there. There are churches who are sponsoring this, and they're harboring the anti.
Yeah, they house them in the basement. No, that's no joke.
If you look around that Newark area, it's an industrialized area, but it's an industrial corridor. But if you look at the outskirts of that, just beyond that industrialized area, there are several churches there whose mission is to support the transfer of people and also of weapons and supplies. Mosques, churches, I'm sorry, it escapes me. There was another facility, but specifically, and the police. I don't know, aren't they? They're going to be turning on us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may look and say, "Wait a second, it looks fine. It looks like everybody is the police are actually going after Antifa and trying to restore traffic into the ICE facility." That's very temporary, and that's a lot of show because of what's happening. And I'm going to kick it back to you because here's the other part of this. The state, local, or the state governments and the federal representatives are now working on behalf of the Singhams of the world, the NGOs. They're actually getting money from the NGOs,
because that's where the votes and money come from,
right?
And especially somebody that's here illegally. I'll tell you right now, they're not voting Republican.
They don't have to.
They're not. The leftists they're charging you. I know you think you're winning battles against them. Not really. They're growing. They're looming in the background. They're well funded. They are so well funded. There are so many people that want to see the destruction of the United States. We're one of the last things that's stopping the globalists. The United States is a stumbling block for the globalists because we're armed. And it's going to get ugly.
In RT, if I'm going to invite people who are listening to this, whether you're listening to this or watching this, if you have suggestions on how to better present, again, we're dealing with an enormous problem. one that began almost a century ago. Okay, in terms of operational tactics and stuff. Yeah, if you have any, we know it, slice by slice, bit by bit, we can present it, but
we know the history of it. Yeah, we know the history of it,
and the current, which would produce the pattern. The pattern produces what's coming, but how do we? But RT, how do we better present
the seriousness?
And the tactics and operations which we see coming in the very short term.
Well, we got to consolidate it and present it.
But how do you do it with so much information? I mean, it was.
I know there's not enough time.
That's a problem too.
We're running out of time,
and we're running out of allies internally here in the U.S.
Yeah.
The very people that supported us during our investigation in Butler have pretty much been saying, you know what, can't help you. We're losing allies from within because of certain people's desire to put money over country. Next month,
they sold out.
Who was alive listening to this for America's bicentennial? RT, do you remember America's bicentennial?
You're talking 1976?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it well. I was a freshman.
All right. Young guy.
Yeah, I was young. Yep.
So here we are coming on our 250th. Does it feel the same?
No, it was far more patriotic, I think, in 1976.
Remember the bicentennial minutes on TV? Eric the Tech, in closing, can you find a bicentennial minute on YouTube? Seriously. If you were alive then, you remember that feeling back in 1976 of celebrating what America was all about.
Oh, yeah.
In 50 years, we have screwed the pooch immensely.
Oh, yeah. And I remember when Iran took the hostages, how infuriated every last American was. We're talking about Republican, Democrat, it didn't matter. We were furious. I joined the military over that. I wanted nothing more than to go over there and do justice and get our people back. But it was such a patriotic. It was like that those 2 weeks after 9/11, Doug. You remember that? There wasn't any place you could go where there wasn't an American flag. And anybody that was here in the States we were all brothers. It didn't matter. Republican, Democrat alike, you don't come and shit in our backyard. You know? And there was this feeling, man. There was just this feeling in the air that we were going to wrong or right. No, I'm sorry, we were going to right or wrong. Excuse me. We were going to right or wrong.
Well,
and we were going to do it together as Americans.
I was going to leave that alone because that's what's happening right now. We're wronging a right. And it's so much deeper than the
wrong and a right. Yeah.
It's so much deeper than anything I think you and I or anything we've ever dealt with before. What's going on is so much deeper and so much more problematic. And you know what? I think it presents the greatest danger. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is, what needs to be done collectively, requires money and power. It requires money and it requires legislation and quite possibly the military. There's a lot of things going on here. And are we prepared to do that? That's the thing. I don't see any, we can't even keep a podcast on the air. How are we going to get together the money for a movement to combat this stuff?
Or who would say now? On the other hand, maybe that's not the best way to handle that, because this is going to have to. In my last thought, be again, just torturing the hell out of this topic and this subject, and feeling tortured, trying to convey my internal feelings about what's coming. I think it needs to be, the solutions need to come from within everybody who's able, everyone who's physically capable.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't need to be centralized. No one needs to lead this movement or to be
the movement would actually take off. There's something we need to do to get it started. And Doug and I have discussed this many times. There's about 17 things we could do that we literally could do, but where there's no coming back.
That's right.
We know what needs to be done, and we've studied this. I know I've certainly put a lot of time into it, but there's about 17 things, because we've always told you, surgical. From full front on, we're outnumbered. But there's, and I'm not going to say any more than that.
And thank you, because we should.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm not going to say another word as far as that goes. But listen, we need some funding.
Well, yes, we do.
Don't shrug it off, Doug. We need funding, please.
But I thank everyone who's contributed.
And absolutely, but please reach out. And I like to think we're worth a cup of coffee.
And look,
not,
we have to stick together.
And if we're not, then don't let us wither up and die.
But and part of this. Okay, so and by the way, RT's links for his recovery fund will be in the program description box. Ours are our website, hagmannpi.com. But in the one of the last things I'm going to say is well, you know what? I'm not going to say anything more except that I want to just thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for your support.
Mm-hmm.
But in RT, you've been fighting this. We've been fighting this battle. And Eric the Tech, we can close this out by the bicentennial. Was that a video? That was a video, right? Huh? All right, good.
If that was just a really cool picture,
really. but the again, if you were alive during this time and aware and looking around, and you could smell in the air, the farmland, and I mean, I don't want to paint this great picture necessarily that everything was rosy, because it wasn't. But here's the difference. One of the differences, I should say, was there was a humanity and a better purity of heart. Our hearts have been corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity has been under attack.
Well, because our population has been diluted from patriotic America, and then you bring in 100 million people that don't give a damn about America, or are just here to suck off America's tit. We're in trouble.
In a weak leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about Thune's actions. We could talk about but you know what? At the end of the day, it's everybody. It's all but a few.
Mm-hmm. Collectively, Congress is useless.
Yeah,
they're not going to save us. Don't think they are. Please don't think that. Don't think you're going to vote your way out of this one. You're not. You're not voting your way out of this.
I'm 100% convinced that there's no voting our way out of it.
I'm telling you that, and I've told the people of Canada their situation too. You're not voting your way out of this. You're a fool if you think you are.
But as we close this out,
in Canada, it's mathematically impossible.
Canada is
just telling you.
I feel bad. I mean,
It's horrible for them up there. They're in trouble, and mathematically impossible to get out of it using the House, their parliament and their government. It's impossible. You can't do it mathematically. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And we're right behind that. You can't rely on Trump. What if Trump takes a bullet in the head tomorrow?
I'm not even sure.
You got to stop and think about contingencies, ladies and gentlemen. We're in trouble.
But see, we've spoken about the flock cameras, and you might, from a bullet in the head to flock cameras. Look, the surveillance of every American right now is oppressive. You got flock camera, those deployed. You've got facial recognition everywhere. You've got numerous aspects of surveillance.
That 5G network we were talking about.
Right, but
I sent you a map of that.
I appreciate on the ley lines.
Yes, and absolutely the lady that sent it to us. Thank you. I appreciate it. She had it. We had it for the end of the show.
Absolutely.
I was so impressed. And that's when we were good together. It's when you guys pull together and do things like that. There's not enough hours in the day for Doug and I to do everything. You got to be part of the winning team.
And just please understand what's going on right now is so much more volatile than any video, any social media blip that you can even think of.
But we're going to keep bringing them to you.
Yeah, we are. But the depth and the width that it needs, and I just want you to know, man, it's coming, because I do believe that this recent move and this recent tactic change to this Newark area, you're gonna see it die down, but then,
and we only know about it in Newark right now. It's a big country.
This is
don't believe I guarantee you get up in Portland and Seattle, there's something just like this going on. I guarantee it.
As satellite operations,
and in Minneapolis.
But the concentration because the location in Newark is so important because of the strategy with the density of the population. That tells me that things are about ready to go within 60 days. All right, we're over time. We'll end with a happy note, maybe a happy note, a different note. Think back to America's 200th birthday. Think of where we are today, and notice the difference. Just notice.
And to the three people that contributed to me last week, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'm not being funny. 3 people, and God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you.
And thank you for everyone who has helped us. And
yes.
All right. Here it is.
We're in it together, man.
Amen to that. We'll close out with this.
I'll be that uncle that nobody likes to talk about. How's that?
Just don't be that. Bob's your uncle, right? Don't be that uncle in the attic there.
Yeah.
You want to close this out, Eric, with that video or no?
I'm Gary Lockwood. 200 years ago today, Loyalists in New York's Queens County waited in fear. Patriots were rifling through voting records, and anyone who dared to vote against the rebels in a recent election was marked for arrest. Congress had sent militiamen to check on rumors that the Loyalists were smuggling in guns from British ships. Armed men went from house to house searching. They arrested 788 Queens County men and forced them to sign loyal deals. 18 were taken to Philadelphia, where members of Congress could question them closely. But no real evidence was found. They were sent back to New York. Still, Patriots kept them in jail for a month. The Tories were finally allowed to go home only after they paid heavy fines. I'm Gary Lockwood, and that's the way it was.
These historic minutes are sponsored each night by Shell.